All right, everybody, let's get started. Can we put away the phones because it is important notes? I'm sure you guys are hopefully happy to see me again and have my good quality notes. Atlanta, phone. Look at my amazing. All right. So, what we're going to be looking at today is the biological investigations. I'm just going to go to my Google site for a moment just to kind of go over the plan of how this assessment is going to work. So if we go level 1 science and we go bioinvestigation, there we go. All right. So we are going to be doing 3 practice internals. I'll see how you guys go, if you need all 3 of them or if you don't. The idea with each one of these these practice internals is to give you guys an idea of what is expected for the internal with support and then gradually removing that support away from you. So the first practice internal we're going to do is looking at height versus arm span to see if there's a correlation between those two. This one is going to be given a lot of teacher support, so I'm basically going to use it as a teaching model going through step by step, and you guys are allowed to work on it in groups and chat to each other. So that's the first practice one. You will use the same sort of investigation skills for all the other internals all the other practice internals and the final formative internal where your grade's going to come from. You're using that same sort of skill set. We're just changing the parameters of the question. So second practice one, we're going to be looking at foot length and height and seeing if there's a correlation there. I'm going to remove some of the teacher support. So you're going to see in the next version, it's going to be less scaffolded. And in this case, you won't be able to work in groups to complete it. You're going to have to work in pairs. So a little less kind of brain power to get it done. So that's practice 2. Practice number 3 is designed to be an exact copy of what you would be doing on the formative or the final internal. So you will be allowed to work in groups to collect the data, but the report itself needs to be written individually. So it's a really good assessment to see what do you know by yourself. There are 2 important reasons to why why you should aim to complete all these practice internals. The first one is that you guys can use this as your notes for the formative one. So it is an open book assessment. So if you guys do a good job on that, you fill it out really well, I write lots of feedback, you can use that as a reference. That's the first thing. Yes, Brooklyn. Can you help me with this? Yeah, that's the whole idea. The first one's practice. I'm going to help you guys with it. The first one is very supported practice. The second reason why I want you guys to make sure you get as much work done as possible, especially on practice internal 3, is that I can use it as backup evidence if you make a mistake on the actual final internal. So if I notice, ooh, you made something really silly here, but I know you can do it, I can reference that previous work to give you like a holistic mark. So it's basically, I can give you the highest possible mark the more work you give me. So that's the idea. Are we okay so far? Cool. All right. Do some notes. You're welcome to write this down. It's up to you, really, because it's not related to the internal itself. It's just kind of thinking about scientific data. So if you guys remember, for the toy car, you would have seen this template before with the aim, the variable, the method, the reliability, all that sort of stuff. Are we okay with that so far? Does this look familiar to everybody? Hopefully. Yeah. You did this with the toy car? Yeah. All right. Why? Put away the phone, thanks. So, when we think about scientific data, there are 2 ways that we can collect that data. So when we think about scientific investigation, there's 2 main ways that we ask questions and collect data. The first way you guys did with the toy car, and that's with having an independent variable. You don't need to. It's just background and then variable. So if you guys remember, one variable was the one that you changed. And then you had one dependent variable. Which is what you measured. You guys did this with the toy car internal. So that was the first type of scientific experiment that you guys did. You said, okay, if I change the height of the ramp, how far is my car going to go? So that I will. I just haven't had a chance to update the role because I'm kind of busy in the middle of teaching. Okay. All right. The second type of scientific investigation, and the one that we're going to be doing for this bio investigation, is looking at two measured pieces of data. So we're comparing two measured data sets to see if there is a relationship. So that's our second potential one. So instead of changing one of these variables, we're just making observations on two things. This one here is really similar to thinking about pattern recognition. So that's why I wanted you guys to play the Kahoot as you're due now. That whole Kahoot was designed to think about patterns, and that's what we're looking at when we're comparing data like this. We're trying to see, is there a pattern? Is there a correlation between the two? So this is what we're going to be doing for the bio internal. I'm trying to think what else I want to say. I think that's it. Questions, concerns, comments so far? No questions, no concerns, no comments? All right. Cool. Let's talk about our first investigation. So all of these practice ones and your formative assessment is all going to be looking at the human body, and we're looking to see if in our human body, is there a relationship with the ratio of like height versus arm length, foot versus height, wrist circumference versus neck circumference, that sort of stuff. So there's lots of comparisons that we can do. We are looking to see if there is a ratio. So what the theory is in this first example is we're asking, is there a relationship between the height, so how tall someone is, versus their arm span? What do you need? In theory, this should be a 1-to-1 ratio. So whatever your height is should be the same as your arm length. It isn't? Well, we'll look at the data. All right. So can you guys give this a go before I go through the answers? I don't want you guys to have me talk for an hour. Can you start trying to fill in the planning sheet? I know you guys have seen this before with the toy car. So I want to see what you guys can give a go at doing. I will go over the answers, okay? So aim to get the planning sheet done.